Well, let's get into the Ontario election now with Sabrina Nanji, journalist and the woman behind the Queen's Park Observer. Sabrina, nice to see you. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, nice to be with you, Michael.
Listen, let's start with Doug Ford and the PC leader here, because, you know, the polls, as we have noted, have been in his favor since the start of this campaign. But then yesterday he makes this amazing comment saying that he feels that the PCs could walk away with all 124 ridings today. What do you make of that? How much of that is bravado?
Yeah, I think, Ford has been confident throughout this entire campaign. And you're right, they are talking a big game. I mean, people in that war room are talking about how they're going to win more than 90 seats. Of course, that would be a huge feat for the Conservatives. Just in the history of this province, it's very rare to win a majority mandate on your third go around, right? And we know, though, that the Ford campaign has been running a front runner campaign from day one. I mean, they've had limited media appearances. I'm not happy about that as a journalist, but it's something that you do when you're the guy to beat. He's been sticking to this ballot box question and the PC's framing of it, which has been tariffs and, the uncertainty with Trump. And I guess, a broader perspective on that is the economy, right? And leadership, like who do Ontarians believe is best suited to face Trump and the threat of tariffs? Meanwhile, the Liberals and the NDP, while they've sort of been jockeying for second place here, they've been sticking to more provincial, actual provincial issues, stuff that's, more so in the provincial jurisdiction. Bonnie Crombie and the Liberals have been talking a lot about healthcare and a lot about access to a family doctor. That is something that's also top of mind for a lot of Ontarians. Meanwhile, the New Democrats and Marit Stiles have been talking about cost of living and things like, the grocery rebate and rent control, so housing too. The thing is all the oxygen in the room and the news cycle has been all about Trump and tariffs. And so I think that has worked out in Doug Ford's favor. Of course, we're going to see how it all shakes out in a couple of hours later tonight.
Yeah, we will see later tonight. Although, it was interesting because when you and I came together along with Rob Benzie to talk about the start of this race, we were talking about how the race for second might be the more unpredictable one to keep an eye on, since the Conservatives the PCs rather, were so far ahead in the polling numbers. How is the race for second shaping up between Marit Stiles of the NDP and Bonnie Crombie of the Liberals?
Yeah, we have seen, I guess, maybe towards the end of the campaign, the Liberals leapfrogging the New Democrats when it comes to, the public opinion polls. I would say that maybe the wrench in all of this is the fact that the NDP's vote is more concentrated. And so when they win big, they win really big. And when they lose, it can be really devastating. And so that's where I'm going to be paying attention to some of these key places in Toronto, for instance, and the 905. I know there's a lot of spots, especially in downtown, Toronto proper, that the Liberals are going to try and poach from the NDP. So that area is going to be crucial for us to watch tonight. But you're right. I think that Bonnie Crombie has really been doing her best to bring the Liberals out of the political wilderness. They've been sidelined, not even recognized status since 2018. And we have seen Bonnie Crombie, I guess, find her footing a little bit. She's been, really had her elbows up. She's been, landing these major punches to Doug Ford. It hasn't really quite been enough to bring him down so much in the polls, but it does seem to be working, at least, from what the public opinion surveys are telling us. It seems to be working in maybe, poaching some anti-Ford voters that might have voted for the NDP. I think that Bonnie Crombie sort of appealing to New Democrats and saying, you got to pick Liberal for strategic voting, for the anti-Ford vote. I wonder how that's going to play out. That's something I'll be paying attention to.
Yeah, something to watch out for. Although, what's interesting as well is that when you talk about Ontario politics, the NDP vote is more efficient. They come out with more seats with less numbers than perhaps the Liberals need in order to come up with an equal number of seats. So that's something that we'll have to watch out for tonight, just how well the polling numbers translate into seat count.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, even in the last round in 2022, the NDP, it was sort of similar to what we had seen now, that the NDP and the Liberals were pretty much neck and neck in the polls, but obviously on election day, the NDP did a lot better and formed official opposition. I think that's a bit more of a question this time around. And we know that when you get recognized party status, that makes your job a lot easier at Queen's Park, right? You get a lot of extra resources, money, you get more speaking time in question period. And so while, we might not wake up tomorrow to like completely like a sea change at Queen's Park, I think definitely for the Ford government and accountability and I guess, the future of the Liberal Party even in Ontario, I think a lot of those questions will be answered tomorrow morning.
Okay, well, I know one person whose job is not so easy today, and that's yours. So I appreciate you taking the time on a busy election day. Sabrina Nanji, thank you for this.
Yeah, thanks for having me.